Tonight on KGW News, he spent 25 years behind bars and just walked out a free man.
It was stunning. I mean, after years of waiting for this.
How Jesse Johnson's murder conviction was finally overturned. Plus,
the last time I saw somebody consuming what I believe to be fentanyl publicly on our streets was less than 5 minutes ago.
So Portland leaders just voted to do something about it. Why the new crackdown on drugs won't actually work just yet. And later, notice anything strange in the sky? We take the U out of UFO and get to the bottom of this floating phenomenon. Good evening, everyone. Let's get right to breaking news. What appears to be a deal in the Camas teacher strike. The union announcing within the last half hour they have come to a tentative agreement with the school district. This covers 450 Camas Education Association members. After 6 days on strike and months of negotiations, the union says teachers and the district made a deal on class sizes, funding for student programs, and cost of living adjustments. Union members will still need to vote to ratify this agreement. If they reject it, teachers will go back to the picket lines. Now, keep in mind, classes are still canceled for Thursday in the Evergreen School District, by the way, the largest in Southwest Washington. The strike also continues. There's still no deal there. We'll continue to stay across both and bring you updates as soon as they come in. And we continue now at 11 with a moment of pure relief as a 62-year-old walks out of prison after fighting a murder conviction for decades. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm David Molko. Jesse Johnson was released from a Marion County jail last night, and those first steps of freedom came after a prolonged legal battle, an overturned conviction, and the case against him finally being dismissed. Alma McCarty talked to Johnson's legal team. Alma, I cannot imagine how they are feeling tonight. What'd they tell you?
Well, David, following his release, Johnson's attorneys treated him to dinner where he had stuffed salmon, not the kind of food you can get while incarcerated. Then they put him up in a hotel as they begin to figure out what life will look like for him now that he's free.
I know that when he learned of the news from my co-counsel, he went back to his cell and cried. I think it was tears of relief, tears of all kinds of tears of 25 years lost.
An overwhelming range of emotions for Jesse Lee Johnson.
Congratulations, Jesse.
All righty.
From tears to joy, stepping out from behind bars for the first time in 25 years.
He was steadfast in his proclamations of innocence.
Richard Wolf is one of his attorneys. He says it's the deals Johnson refused that helped prove that innocence.
Several months ago, the prosecution made Mr. Johnson an offer where if he pled no contest to manslaughter and robbery, he could be released from jail immediately, have no parole, no post-prison supervision, no probation. And he turned it down.
In 2004, Johnson was convicted and sentenced to death for the killing of Harriet Thompson, a mother of 5, in her Salem apartment.
Jesse Johnson was actually the Oregon Innocence Project's first client. We started looking at the case in 2014, just after we had launched.
Legal director Stephen Wax says they continued to represent him for years. In 2021, the Oregon Court of Appeals overturned Johnson's murder conviction and ordered a new trial, finding that a key eyewitness account from the original case wasn't ever considered by police or by Johnson's defense team. Attorneys noting the racism on display.
A witness who said that she was sitting on her front porch almost across the street from the crime scene and heard screams, saw a white man fleeing the residence. And when she told the police that, told, as I understand it, the lead detective that, using racial epithets, he was just not interested in hearing what she had to say.
Days before hearings were set to begin in his retrial, the prosecution moved to dismiss the whole case. Their reasoning? They believe they couldn't prove Johnson's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, since certain evidence is unavailable, and many critical trial witnesses are deceased. On Tuesday, a judge approved that motion.
Who is this guy here?
Now at 62 years old, Jesse Johnson walks free once again.
Freedom, how's it feel, brother?
Oh yeah.
Now, some important information to note, David. A dismissal of the charges is not exoneration. Johnson could be tried again since both aggravated murder and murder charges are not barred by the statute of limitations. We did reach out earlier today to state prosecutors who responded no comment to our requests for a statement. As for what's next for Johnson, he'll begin piecing his life back together, heading down to California to live with relatives there. David?
Free now and finding a way forward after a quarter of a century. Thanks so much, Alma. Let's get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now. Portland police are searching for more victims of an alleged serial rapist. In recent months, authorities say 4 different women have come forward and accused 49-year-old Konstantin Svidenko of sexually assaulting them. All alleged attacks happened in his apartment near Northeast 122nd and Multnomah Street. A grand jury indicted Svidenko on 17 charges. Anyone with information or who may be a survivor should call Portland police. As Portland Public Schools resume classes, employees are demanding the district take sexual harassment claims more seriously. Union members accuse the district of dismissing complaints, among other things. At the school board meeting last night, they called for an investigation into the district's HR department. They're also demanding sexual harassment prevention training.
Inaction not only perpetuates a cycle of fear and oppression, but also undermines the very foundation of care and trust upon which education should be built.
Well, PPS says it already hired an outside investigator to review sexual harassment claims. And starting next year, you won't be able to buy flavored tobacco or nicotine products in Multnomah County. Commissioners unanimously approved the ordinance last year, in part to prevent children and teenagers from using the tobacco products. The ban's opponents then filed a lawsuit saying it would hurt small business owners selling tobacco. A circuit court judge dismissed that lawsuit on Friday. That means the ordinance will go into effect in January. Meanwhile, Portland City Council today unanimously approved a plan to ban open-air drug use. It comes as the city's seen a record number of overdoses. We'll tell you in a moment about the huge hurdle to overcome before police can take any kind of action. But first, Blair Best gives us a look at how the new ordinance would work.
Today, we're doing one more thing that demonstrates we're willing to do our part. I vote aye. The resolution is adopted.
In a 5-0 vote Wednesday afternoon, Portland City Council passed an emergency ordinance banning the public use of controlled substances like fentanyl.
At a time when government is largely seen as highly divided, our actions today stand in sharp contrast.
It was met with 2 hours of public testimony. A Multnomah County commissioner started it off by saying more needs to be done.
The county should be declaring the fentanyl crisis a public health emergency.
The ban adds to an already existing ordinance that prohibits drinking alcohol in public. This fills a significant gap in how the city handles the fentanyl crisis, seeing as there are currently no laws against using it and other hard drugs in public, which increases overdoses and puts a strain on Portland first responders, like paramedic firefighter Dave Friedrichs, who testified today in favor of the ban.
We are tired. Our families are worried about our mental and physical health.
Violation of the ban would include a fine up to $500 or up to 6 months in jail. While many are in favor, some believe it does more harm than good.
I'm here because incarceration and overdose deaths are devastating my community. As in, my friends and my family are dying and getting locked up.
It's important to note Mayor Wheeler talked of introducing a similar ordinance just a few months ago, but changed his mind at the last minute, pointing to a new state law that makes possession of certain amounts of fentanyl illegal. However, using drugs in public was never addressed. City commissioners now calling this a common sense ordinance.
The last time I saw somebody consuming what I believe to be fentanyl publicly on our streets was less than 5 minutes ago, 3 blocks from City Hall.
Isn't that the reality there? That's Blair Best reporting. Now, here is the but, as in, but there is a huge caveat to this ordinance. Can't actually go into effect yet. State law only allows cities to enforce bans on public alcohol use, not drugs. So City Council is now going to lobby lawmakers in Salem to pass a new law to allow banning public drug use. Follow that one there. That likely would not happen until next year's short legislative session at the very earliest. Another option here, a court challenge that would allow the city to move forward, though no word on any, at least not yet. Meanwhile, it is still not safe to drink the water in Jervis. The town has been under a boil water notice since a thunderstorm on Saturday knocked out the power to their water treatment plant. They got the test results back on samples today, and they were positive for coliform bacteria. Not good. There is concern the samples could have been contaminated, though, in the environment and not by the water itself. So now they are retesting. In the meantime, those in the city limits should keep boiling their drinking water. You're watching KGW News, and straight ahead at 11, new video reveals how a convicted killer scaled his way out of a Pennsylvania prison, and it turns out he wasn't the first. Plus, COVID cases are ramping up. We verify claims that a new strain is more contagious for those who've been vaccinated.
I'm Matt Safino. A clear, beautiful day today. The clouds are with us right now, though. It's still pretty mild out there, 65 degrees. We've got a lot of great late summer weather on the way. Couple of chances of sprinkles. I'll let you know when and where.